push the button. I don't know what's gonna happen now. Let me take a look at YouTube. Let's see what happens on the tube.
I'm not seeing anything. Let me refresh.
I think we're live, but give it a couple of seconds because it takes a little bit of time to for the video to actually go live. I don't know what's gonna happen now. Yes, we are live. Let's see if the audio is okay. Oh, are you listening now to the video? Because I can hear you.
Yeah, let me mute that. No.
I think we're live, but give it a couple of seconds.
This is some Inception stuff.
Yes. Time to for the video to actually go live. I don't know what's gonna happen now.
I need some help, Fabio, because I can hear you talk.
If the audio is okay. Oh, are you listening now to the video? I can hear you.
Let me mute that. No.
I think we're live, but give it a couple of seconds.
This is some Inception stuff.
Yes. Time to. I guess you need to wear earpieces.
No, hold on. Is it gone? Yeah, it's gone.
I think it is gone.
I know what it was. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I don't think that there is any more echo, right?
No, it's good now. Buonasera.
Buonasera. Let me ask people from home if they can hear us okay, because all I heard was like my own voice, and this is something I hate. All right, Bianca, good evening. Dario, how's it going? Domenico, ooh, we have a hot crowd tonight.
All the rock stars are in.
10 people watching and only 3 likes. You people are Nutella. But the bad one.
Yeah.
The fake one. The Euro chocolate.
That's the date one.
Martin, good evening. Are you ready for volumes really low? My volume or whose volume? Whose volume is really low? Hey, Reynaldo, what's going on, man? Dario, is it mine or is it Martin's? Martin's, can you try and talk a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know how to change it though. I don't know. Speak a little louder, but
I raised a little bit my volume. The problem is that I might hear you good here, but I use a monitor. It's complicated. You don't need to know that. Good evening. Just pressed like Reynaldo. Hey, Dario, is it still low? It should be better now, right? I raised it a little bit.
Oh, it was mine, but I don't know. I don't even
Martin's
volume control over.
No, Dario says it's Martin's lower than you. I don't know what to tell you, man. Then Martin, you'll have to speak up. Anyway, the thing is that hopefully you'll be the one doing the talking tonight, so I won't have to bother. Martin, good evening. Thanks a lot for accepting my invitation. Sorry for keeping people waiting now for how long? 18 minutes? No, that's how long we've been on the show, you and I. Yeah. Maybe 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, man. I'm super honored. Basically all my heroes have been on this side of the stream talking to you. So yeah, big surprise and happy to be here. Yeah,
I invited you because I ran out of options. There was nobody else that wanted to. No, dude, jokes aside, thanks a lot for accepting the invitation. You're a person that I really enjoy following on social media. You have your own take on things. Sometimes, I see that you get yourself a little bit in trouble for the stuff that you post. And I guess that we have that in common. And so, I look forward to expand a little bit on that. First of all, for those who don't know you, why don't you introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and what they can expect from this conversation?
Yeah, the last question you're going to answer yourself, because I have no idea. You said, do you want to be on my show? And I said, yeah, let's do it. So I'm as surprised as the audience. So I'm Martijn is how my what my name's supposed to be pronounced in the Netherlands. I'm from the Netherlands, 44 years old. I am a father of three, husband to one, and I work for this lovely company, Evil Erad. No, I'm looking at it in mirror. I work for Wacom, the Japanese pen tablet company, and I'm responsible for enterprise sales in the Benelux. And my passion in 3D started about a year and a half ago when I was visiting for my work, visiting Playgrounds Festival, and I saw a couple of concept artists on stage talking about their journey or about their art, and I was like, holy crap, like I come from a photography background. Before I worked for Wacom, I worked for Nikon, the camera brand. So I was very actively doing photography, and I always thought that photographers were like the creative heroes of this planet until I saw concept artists, starting with a blank screen, and then they took their pen and they started doing stuff, and then after an hour or a day or a week, this artwork appeared, and I was so intrigued by the process that I decided to dive into Cinema 4D and Octane, and basically using YouTube tutorials taught myself. Well, I didn't teach myself. The guys doing the YouTube tutorials taught me how to use Cinema and Octane, and here I am talking to Fabio.
I like that you specified that you're self-taught. Well, the people of YouTube taught me.
Yeah,
Let's give credit to those who deserve it, right?
yeah, it's definitely Josh Pierce and David Ariev and a couple more, but those two definitely got me, the, going for real.
I'm putting up your Instagram so that people can see the work that you've done. Now, let's repeat this. You've been doing renderings only for a year and a half?
Yeah, maybe a year and 6 or 7 months, but it sounds more sexy when I say a year and a half.
Yeah. It's incredible because you basically started to do very cool things in a very short time. I mean, the stuff that I'm looking at and that I'm showing to people, it's remarkable. Uh, Can you please expand a little bit on how you got started? Like, when you open a software and you have no idea, 3D software, it can be intimidating. I mean, from going to making a cube in Cinema 4D to making the cyberpunk stuff and the all the
Astronaut stuff.
astronauts that people love so much, it takes a while, or
Yeah,
not.
for some reason, it was a very natural process for me. So what I did was, even before installing Cinema 4D, I started watching YouTube tutorials like in general. So, for instance, I would type in the YouTube search bar forest render, and I would just watch on a Saturday, watch 20 tutorials without doing anything or even owning software. And then after a couple of weeks, I found out that the end results I liked most from those search queries were done in Cinema 4D. So then I started doing landscape render Cinema 4D. Okay, and then I started watching tutorials again. Then very soon found out that the results I liked from that query most were done in Octane render. So I was like, okay, now I'm going to go for Cinema 4D and Octane. Then I went back to all those tutorials, and I would literally have my laptop standing on the left of me and just following along what Josh would say or what David would say. And I would go play and then, follow like literally step by step by step, and hit pause again or rewind again. Like, how did he do it? And I would just spend every free second of my life while I was not working, I would spend doing that until I, kind of got comfortable building my own scenes.
How long did the whole process of you going from, okay, what am I doing, to, yeah, it's okay, I kind of know how to manage? How long did it take for you to.
I'm, I'm still not there. Like I'm still not super comfortable, you know, just start to finish. But I think 6 months in, I was at least starting to try to do stuff based on scenes I built using a tutorial. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
I wouldn't look at the tutorial anymore, and I would start with a displaced plane, so I knew at least I had some sort of landscape, and then start building from there.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you, and this is one of the conversations that we have had online, you and I, is the topic of happiness, the fact
Mike,
that who? Oh, hey, Mike, Mikey, what's going on, man? Uh, the topic of happiness. You told me that your decision of like doing art doesn't overlap with your occupation, and this is a decision that do you think it will ever change? Like now that you're good enough at making stuff, would you consider working as an artist? Are you happy in the place where you're now? I don't know.
well, the,
Take the mic.
doing CG is actually, especially now, is the thing that's keeping me kind of sane. To make it very black and white, like the whole lockdown thing, the fact that you can't just grab your car and go to a shop to, I don't know, buy shoes. I feel the balance with my working life and my CG life or my creative life is very interesting right now. Because I'm having fun at my work because the company is doing great, and I get to put a somewhat creativity into my job as well. But when I'm at home behind my Cinema 4D machine, it feels like I'm totally zoning out, creating my own worlds, and it feels like yoga almost. And I don't think I will ever have the ambition to do this as a job, because I think one of the reasons I'm enjoying it so much is that there's no pressure whatsoever. Like, if I turn on Cinema 4D and I start something, and after 45 minutes, I think, you know what, I'm not feeling it today. I'll just go Windows, shut down, bam, and I go watch Vikings on Netflix. And that, my salary will come by the end of the month, because I've been working the day job.
And okay, I see where you're coming from. I don't know. To me, it's like the thing that it's interesting to me is that can you actually find the motivation of making art even if art is not your main occupation? You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of artists they do it because they identify with their job and vice versa. And so, it's like they do art because they're professional artists. You don't have to be a professional artist to make beautiful art, or?
No, for me, it's like I said, there is no pressure, and I see a lot of people online posting about art blocks, for instance. Like they have no inspiration, and they're pretty down about it, and they write like 20 sentences on Facebook saying, "So how did you cope with your art block, or how do you cope with it?" It's not something I know, because, well, I'm gonna use it the same sentence for the fourth time, but there's no pressure with me. Like if I don't feel like doing something in Cinema 4D, then I don't do it. And it makes me it doesn't change my mood or something. It doesn't affect my being.
What about when your boss asked you to make the image for Wacom?
My boss didn't ask.
Oh,
You
okay, because
you
I
mean
saw it on the I saw it
you mean the one
written
I
somewhere.
posted a couple of days ago, the astronaut with the pen?
Yeah, yeah,
No, so my our HR manager asked me to do a presentation, like a 1 hour presentation about
yeah. Mm-hmm.
my creative endeavors, to show the team that there's more to life than just working for Wacom. And of course, I said yes, because I just like talking about it. And then that evening, I decided, you know what, I want like a nice visual to accompany the email invitation.
The HR person was happy about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let me ask you. uh, one thing that I think probably, some people might see your work and say, um, how deep do you go into Cinema 4D in terms of skills? Do you know how to model things? Do you actually take stuff and do it from zero, or do you download models and just put them together?
Yeah, like if I explain to my mom or dad or my aunt who are like older people, I just say it's Legos for adults, like digital Legos for adults. So I don't know how to model. I was laughing when I watched your video on Russian and Ukrainian ArcFIS guys, that they kind of grow up, and when they start 3D, they first go into math, and they go in, the the all the information about ray tracing. Like, they know everything before they
Yeah.
even open a cube. I'm the exact opposite. Like, I know nothing. I think if I would have to put it in a percentage, I think I know probably 4% of what Cinema 4D has to offer. I do think I know a lot of what Octane has to offer, but that, if once you know it, you know it. There's not much to it. Um, but no, I always use pre-made models. Although in one of my last renders, I imported a curb, from the street, imported it from Quixel, and then I thought, well, I want that curb to be round because I wanted a corner. And I was super proud of myself when I spent 15 minutes like just fondling things in Cinema 4D, and I was like, oh shit, I did it! Like, whoa, I made a round curve. So, it's not that I don't want to do it. I just don't feel like I have to know how to model, because at this moment I have all the skills, at least to tell stories I want to tell, like tell visual stories. And I think there will probably be a time where I think that my skill set is too limited to make that next step, and then I will check your YouTube tutorials on modeling in Blender, I think.
So let me ask, if somebody came to you and said, well, you're not really a good artist if you do not know how to model stuff. Do you think coming into the 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 um, the segment of like artists that make beautiful imagery using like assets and so on, do you envision like a future for people that only do that, that are sort of like art director putting things together? um, do you think that it won't be necessary to have people that know how to model because you can buy things online, or because you can hire somebody to do modeling when it's needed?
Yeah, so a wise man once said, modeling is easily the worst part about working with 3D models. I'm quoting the chat now. The guy's called Droki. Um, no, I think I don't know, man. I did have this discussion once with someone that basically called me a terrible artist, because I was only kit bashing. But if I look at concept artists, like I did some workshops by concept artists, and I think it's a combination of photo bashing, kit bashing. I think if you understand how lighting works and composition works, and you're, in my case, let me talk about myself. If I'm happy with a end result, I really don't care how long it took me to make it, what tools I used to make it, if I bought the kits, or if I, if as long as it makes me happy. I'm not creating stuff to make other people happy. It's nice to hear when it does, um, but it starts with, I create stuff I like. And until now, of course, you're always developing a little bit, but until now, I don't feel that I'm lacking knowledge or something, or lacking skill set to tell the stories I want to tell, at least. I don't know if that answered your question. I kind of forgot your question.
Well, the reason why I asked you that, it's because in the field of architectural visualization, there is a little bit the stigma that if you don't know how to model stuff, then you're not really a good artist. You're just somebody that puts things together. And I don't know, because we have seen this sort of like evolution in every single industry. Even in the music industry, I remember a few years back people calling out Britney Spears or something because she was using autotune, right? But even if you remove the autotune, the voice out of the equation, what count is always the final product, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so you won't call out a photographer for using an iPhone 10 instead of like a Nikon D70 or whatever,
Yeah.
You'll be like, what
I
counts
used
is the.
when I was working for Nikon, I would call out anyone not using a Nikon, but right now, no. It's not
You
about
called out me because I was giving away an XP pen, not
yeah.
a Wacom. You have to make a astronaut with a paper that says send a Wacom to Fabio, and then I'll give it away.
I
By
don't
the
think we need
way,
an astronaut for that.
come again.
I don't think we need an astronaut asking for it.
By the way, I see a lot of cool people hanging out tonight. Domenico is here, Renaldo is here, Adam is here, Droki,
Fabian
James
is
was
even
here,
here.
the Dizzy Viper is here. Domenico is actually the one that has given you the career because it's the one that makes the astronauts.
I think my very first astronaut render was because of D2 challenge with Domenico's astronaut, which I stripped. Like I used a naked guy with just a helmet. Remember?
I remember the one on the boat with the tattoo on the butt, right?
Yeah. So I think Domenico is to blame for all the crazy astronaut stuff. You know.
There's also Casper. Good evening. Um, okay, then let's go back a little bit to this thing of the challenge. Did that have any role in your personal development? Like being presented with a challenge? Did that in a way put you under a little bit of like pressure of wanting to improve yourself, of wanting to show a little bit more?
I think it was the yeah, I know, I'm sure it was the first time I entered a challenge, and I did so because it also felt like there was no pressure, right? You guys, I didn't really know about you guys, and it just seemed like a fun bunch of people having fun in CG. Um, and I think the first yeah so the first challenge I did was the Domenico one with the astronaut. So I was like free astronaut. That who doesn't want a free astronaut model?
Exactly.
Um, and I remember being like extremely surprised. I came in, I can't even remember, but I think it was top 15. Like my image was talked about on the live feed, which was super surprising to me, and that really um, did boost my what's the word? My
Self confidence, maybe?
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, okay, so people like what I do. That's awesome.
Which one was the challenge that you enjoyed the most looking back? If you remember it, of course.
Oh no, that's for sure, and it's not because he's in the chat, but that was the Hugh Ferris one.
Ah,
And I remember, and he will probably be remembering this, Mike. I think during those weeks, I sent him several images saying, "Dude, like you created a monster." Like I even think it was when my current love for black and white renders started because I remember downloading this LUT that made my camera imager turn black and white rather than, before I think I did some black and white renders, but I would render them out as color, then go into Photoshop and do the black and white thing there. But now I was actually in my live viewer, in my viewport, I was looking at a black and white render, and that got me so excited and at the tip of my seat. And I kind of feel bad that I didn't spend more time on the render at that time. Um, because when I look at it now, it's like, fuck, you dropped like many balls on that one. But it was definitely that one. That with Joki's challenge, something clicked in my head, and I think if you look at my past, I don't know, 12 renders, that's what happened there.
that's amazing. So you managed to take part in every single challenge?
No, no,
Okay.
I skipped a couple. I think I skipped the last two.
Okay. We're coming back, by the way, in February the 1st. If you go to the.
Astronaut?
No, we're not doing that, but I mean, I really don't want to say anything about the new challenge, but if you want to do it, I'm pretty sure you can find a way in the new challenge to squeeze an astronaut
You're not
inside.
even gonna lift the do a tip of the veil.
I can only tell you that we are partnered up with Matte Paint, and there is an artist that is going to be part of the challenge who has a huge reach. Like, this guy is borderline Michael Jackson famous.
Wow.
And it's going to be very interesting because it's going to be. I really don't want to say anything. Just, come to the Facebook group, stay tuned. On the 1st of February, we're gonna do a live with the guys from Matte Paint, and it's going to be amazing. And I don't want to give too much away, but I'm very excited. It's going to be a very cool
Nice.
challenge. But anyway, I see a lot more people coming in. Let me just remind them, if you have any question for Martin, feel free to leave it in the comments. I'm gonna go and take a look a little bit
Yeah,
later
and
on.
maybe you should comment on the amount of thumbs up as well.
Oh,
There's
yes.
a discrepancy between the
You
views.
guys stink because you're not clicking the like button. I resent you. All right, do it now, and then I'm gonna love you forever. Dude, I'm very interested in asking you this. There are a lot of people that are sort of like victims, so to say. Probably it's the wrong word, of their own sort of like unhappiness because of the pressure that builds up in the artistic world. You have to work under deadline, and creativity, it's not a linear process where the more work you put, the better something comes out. There are times where your brain, it's not working, or you are so drained that you're not able to move forward. You bring an external perspective as someone that it's not working inside the industry. By looking at it from the outside, do you feel like you can contribute to the discussion and maybe give some tips and some words of like moral support to those who find themselves struggling?
I don't. The first thing that comes to mind isn't moral support, but I feel very bad for if you have a job that. So there's a lot of artists that have a job that which is my hobby, right? And I just like love everything there is to love about doing CG, and then seeing people depressed or down because they do it to get the bills paid, and therefore there's this massive amount of pressure on them, which prevents them from tapping into their creative brain. Because I think that's what's happening. Like the pressure just prevents them from being able to create cool stuff. Not always, but some of them get into that situation. For me, it's impossible to give any advice on it other than find a hobby, because for me 3D is hobby, and that makes my work life much more fun, because I just get energy from doing stuff in 3D and creating stuff, and I take that energy and have that in my job as well. um, but I don't know. For me, you asked me earlier on the show. You asked me if I would ever consider becoming like a full time or a paid artist. I don't think so, because that would mean I would lose the passion, probably likely the passion that I feel for the medium right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna have fun, Fabio, but I think I'm depressing everyone right now.
Well, Casper is actually asking if you're planning to get some commissions or if some commissions have come in lately. You already answered that. We talked about it, but maybe you want to
Uh,
reiterate for Casper.
Yeah, it's so I'm very scared if So let's say Guerrilla Games calls me today and says, "Hey, I want you to work on Horizon 4 and start next week." What do you say? I would probably start crying because I'm probably the that one person on the planet that's going to say no, because I don't think I would be able to cope with the pressure that brings. Like if you put pressure on me, or financials into the equation, into my creative equation, I think I'm gonna block or explode. I don't think it's ever gonna happen. But if you
So
have money, Casper, and you want to commit me something, send me a DM. Let's see what happens. No, I don't think it will.
by the way, the prints that you made of your renderings, did they
Hmm,
sell out?
no, not a single. But can I just say, because I see a lot of CG people in the chat, I think all of them, do yourself a favor every 2 months. If you have a little bit of cash left, find a company that does quality prints. And it doesn't have to be like massive 2 meter wide ones, but even small, I don't know, 20 by 30 ones. Pick some of the work you're most proud of and have them printed, because seeing your renders in print is like a whole other dimension, like a fantastic experience.
Yeah, it's nice that you walk inside and you see your own work.
Yeah.
Uh, a couple of months ago, I was in Vienna because of the show that we did, and I remember walking into the old office that Jason and I, together with Christian, had, and we still have like some of our old renderings hanging there. And it did something to me when I walked and I saw the old work that we did. I was like, ah, fuck.
How do you feel when you see your own old work?
Like shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not it's not good as for the standards of today. It's still like emotional because it's like it's something that you've done for somebody that has paid you, and they were happy for the stuff that we did. But now, as a like the artist that in me, which I really don't like to call myself an artist because
High
I don't know
five.
my my the definition of artist that I have in my head, it's very idyllic. It kind of like says, "What the fuck, Fabio? You never had any talent." I really do think that of myself all the time. Do you ever deal with that kind of feeling, that inner voice that tells you that you suck?
Let me do Dario's question first. Have you ever, regarding printing, have you changed or modified the color profile for printing? No, so I found a guy in my country his company is like a 2 hour drive from my home. And I went there. So I called him. I said, I want to have some prints done. And he said, well, come over. Then we do like some test prints and, see what works with your work. So I just brought a USB stick with a couple of my images, and I ended up being there for like almost a day doing like small test prints, bigger ones, and I'm not technical at all. So I think there's a choice between sRGB and something else. I don't know, sRGB and
CMYK or?
no, it's even, I don't know, but no. So yes, there is changes being made, but I just let him do it, and it always looks nice. So to answer your question, if I finish a render today and I post it, I can be like super in love with it, and then the next day I look at it, I'm still super in love with it, and then by the end of the next day I'm like, I don't know, and then a day later I'm like, that was shit. Like I completely forgot to do this. Sometimes even when I post it, 5 minutes later I open my Instagram and I look at the image and I think, oh man, what have I done? Like this is crap. So it's anywhere between 5 minutes and 3 days, and then I'm totally over what I've done.
Yeah, I think that everybody suffer from that. But anyway, Adam, thank you for the compliments. I appreciate it. Dude, which kind of music do you listen to when you create? What gets in the mood?
I think 80% of the time I just forget to put on music. I'm like sucked into my screen and totally zoning out. But if I'm in weekends, I sometimes put random music on. Like I know there's a couple of guys. I think I heard a couple of guys say like they're into heavy drum and bass, like Cornelius Damrich. Like he
Yeah.
does drum and bass, and I heard him say, and I was like, shit, I would be so distracted with all the fast-paced electronic music. So I don't know. I don't have really something I do normally. Huba, yeah,
let's
all the time.
let's let's instead then talk about collaborations a little bit.
Mhm.
I've seen that you have done a lot of work with Polygon Yogurt or
Yeah,
yogurt
yeah.
Polygon Yogurt, right?
Polygon yogurt, Thomas.
Which is Thomas Bauer, right?
Mhm.
He's out of Berlin. I don't know if he's watching. I don't know if he's tuned
He
in for
better
this.
be.
But tell me a little bit about the friendship that you have with him, and has this helped you pushing yourself forward? Has it given you a different perspective? Has it been something good that you now look back and cherish?
No, absolutely. The best way to describe it is uh, Thomas reignited my flame for doing series. Like when I was doing photography, after I did that for like 15 years, and in the last 6 to 7 years, I was working on two different series. One about a modern day knight, so guy with a sword in everyday situations. The other series was called Life in the Hood, and it was about the Grim Reaper. And for some reason, I completely lost any appetite for doing single images with photography. I only wanted to do series because I got most creative energy from that. And I don't even remember how I met Thomas or how we got in touch, but very soon thereafter, we were talking about the astronaut because he started some images with like this fat guy in an astronaut suit.
Mm-hmm.
I remember thinking the first time I saw it, I was like, fuck, this guy is like humor wise, he's on exactly the same page as I am. And I think that's where it started when I just sent him a message and we started talking. And now for this year, we have a plan to, I'm going to head over to Berlin soon to spend like 2 days with him, and we're going to actually write like a storyline around that fat astronaut who we're going to give him a background, and we're going to give him like a couple of storylines we want to work on, just for fun. But yeah, I'm super looking forward to working on it with him.
Do you ever think about what this little 3D adventure that you have started will bring you one day? Like, if you were to be brutally honest and brutally dreamy about it, where do you see this going? Like, if you could wish for something, where would you see this going?
I know what the answer to that is right now, and I told my wife this just last week or 2 weeks ago. I would My wish would be right now that this rich oil guy calls me up or sends me a DM on Instagram saying, "Hey, I love your black and white renders. I'm going to pay you 100,000 euros per year, and I just want you to make black and white renders." And if that, it's kind of
You wanna be
self.
a 3D whore.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm kind of selling myself out now because I said money into the equation, then my head's gonna explode. Um, but if there's no pressure like creative wise, and someone says, I just really like what you do, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm gonna fund you, that would be my dream. But if I'm completely honest, I don't think I will ever earn money from this unless you explain to me how this whole crypto art thing works, because it's intriguing to me.
Well, the concept is very simple. You know, you make something that people want to buy, you upload it.
That is an octane tattoo. Sorry, Adam asked me. That is an
We're gonna
octane.
talk about this. And you
Oh,
also have a Wacom one, right?
Cinema 4D. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Fabio, for fucking it up. Let's wait for the tattoo part of
It's
the.
fine. No, wait. Okay, let's talk about the tattoos because people are talking about it. What does it feel to be a living NASCAR car with
Yeah,
like
so
sponsors on
it
it?
started with this one. This is the so as I said, I worked for Nikon for 15 years, and because of my job at Nikon, I experienced so many crazy, amazing things that plus I did photography very passionately, and I just wanted to celebrate my love for the brand, and I'm actually super thankful to Nikon for everything they made possible. So while I was working there, it was their, let me see, I think it was their 100th, yeah, 2017, their 100th anniversary, and then they showed this logo, which was the very first Nikon logo from 1917. And I thought, well, that's fun because no one knows this is Nikon, and I didn't want to do like I am Nikon or the Nikon logo.
Hmm.
So that worked. Then I started working for Wacom, and very, very quickly it became evident that this was a very special career move for me. As I said earlier on in the show, the fact that thanks to Wacom, I got in touch with concept art, that just blew me away and changed my creative life forever. I wanted to celebrate that as well, so I did the. So this is the original sketch that led to the current Wacom logo.
Uh-huh.
That's that. Um, and yeah, so the two companies that also changed my creative life were Octane and Maxon. So I
Oh
don't know.
man, I really hope that
Me
Octane
too.
doesn't get bought by Autodesk because then it will be a mess.
No, but the people say like, what if you get fired from Wacom, or they treat you like a jerk? I'm like, well, that doesn't change the fact that they mean a great deal to me. So
Mhm.
I regret none of the ink I put on my body.
Yeah, and that's another thing about tattoos, like you have to make a decision such as there is no going back.
Look,
Oh, that's so cute.
I forgot that. That was already there. Like I did this during my no, this was Playgrounds Festival 2018. This is actually part of a art project from an artist from my city who's making. It's called the Dedicated Thousand. So he's giving away 1,000 tattoos, and each tattoo he is slightly different from the one before and the one after, and he photographs all those tattoos and makes it into a stop motion video.
Uh-huh. That's amazing.
Sorry, I interrupted you again. I keep
No, no,
interrupting.
no. It's fine. It's your interview. I'm here because I wanna talk to you, and so it's okay
Let me
that
show you
the.
the biggest tattoo I have.
Oh, come on. As
Massive.
I
It
was
says
telling
Fabio.
you,
It says
as I
Fabio Palvelli.
as I was telling you, it's okay. When you do a tattoo, you have to do it with the perspective that it's okay. If one day it's a mistake, it's fine. You're gonna look at it and you're gonna be like, maybe I'm better and more clever now. Have you ever had the tattoo removed?
No.
I
Have you?
did. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Do you wanna tell the people about it?
Nope. Moving on.
Come on. So every time I'm
Now,
asking you questions, you don't answer. Like the theme of the new challenge, the tattoo you removed.
now the story is somewhere on the internet because I've been making videos now for 4 or 5 years, so you can actually find it if you go a little bit back. But I'm not gonna do it because it's a really wild story, and I don't think that people tonight have tuned in to listen to my tattoo removal story. Artists that inspire you.
Ooh. Yeah, this is, you're putting me on the spot. There's many. Um, I'm gonna be smart, and I'm not gonna answer any CG artist because
Okay.
there's a lot of people in the chat that inspire me. There's a lot of people doing everydays where I think, holy shit, how can you, create awesomeness on a daily level? And I just find that very, very annoying and impressive. I'm going to say, um, I can't come up with his name now. Ah, yeah, Gregory Crutzen, like the photographer.
Uh-huh. Let me look it up. Can I find him on Instagram?
If you ever want another challenge around a photographer, like Mike did around Hugh Ferris, then
Uh-huh.
Gregory Crutzen would be your man. If you can
I
get him on
think
the
I
shoulder,
think I got him. This Greg Cruden Studio, or?
Crutzen Studio, yeah.
Oh yeah, I see. And this is photography. It looks like oil painting. No, this is oil painting. Is
No,
it
it's not.
photography?
Yeah, it's he uses like these old Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's called 6x9 cameras, like analog cameras. He basically shoots plates, wet plates, and there's I think there's like months of post processing, post production going into
I
adding all
see.
those exposures. Like it, I'm a big
Stunning
fan
work.
of his work, yeah. And I remember, I don't know if he's still here. Dizzy Viper, like just recently did a render which really reminded me of his work. It was a car park with a street light and a car park.
Aha, yes, yes. I remember the work that you're talking about. Uh, Let me just pull it up so that people can have a visual aid.
Yeah,
There
it's
it is.
for some reason there's no high res material to be found online of his work, which is a smart move because otherwise people would be printing it. But
Uh-huh.
it's starting to become impressive if you see the actual prints in a museum or his books.
I'm gonna give it a like because I think that I can find some inspiration also. And by saying inspiration, I mean that I can copy some of his work.
Yeah. Well, it's
But
not a long journey from a cube in Blender to, this.
my cube tutorials are the best ones out there. Best stuff that you can find. Okay, let me just ask people watching from home if there are any questions for you, because believe it or not, we've been rambling already for around 50 minutes. And actually, we've been going live for more than an hour already, you and I.
No, we haven't. We started at 6:15.
No, man, you and I have been at least on this stream
Ah, you
for,
and me.
yeah, you and I, for an hour and 2 minutes.
Yeah, the fun part was before all those people joined to watch us.
Yeah, but we cannot share that stuff. So let's give it a couple of minutes. Maybe people will have some questions. Anyway, do you have any plans as of things that you want to learn to sort of like keep moving forward with your art? Are there tools that inspire you? Are there things that you're scratching your hands that you want to try?
Yeah, so I was super lucky. Like speaking of the insane things that have been happening to me, like this is one. Being on your show is super insane for me. Looking at how new I am to this business. The other crazy thing, what happened like a couple of months ago, was David Arieff asking me to test drive his new lights camera render course, which was like
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I think I did like a full morning of happy dances when I got that news. That was amazing, and that course teaches goes all the way to doing animation, and I really gave it a try to do an animation, and I ended up doing one, and I didn't have any fun with it. Like it was when it was finished, I posted it and I was like, well, there it is. Well, that's my animation. And I wasn't enjoying it as much as I enjoy my stills. When I finish my still, I can be really, I would call my wife and say, come here, have a look. Look what I created. Or my kids, I say, look, what do you think? And with animation, I'm like, meh. So on the other hand, I do think that animation makes for a whole new level of storytelling. Like even doing small movements in a still, like a pan or a tilt or a zoom or whatever. Um, so I think I should give that another chance because I think there's something there. And purely from a product perspective, all Octane users now have World Creator at their disposal. And I, for some reason, I don't know if it's because I'm scared of it or because I'm just too stupid, but I've started trying to follow tutorials for like 5 times already, and I just can't get anything out that's worth building on in Cinema 4D. But that's something I really want to learn, like larger scale scenes, because it's my work now is all really zoomed in or small worlds, and I would love to go.
Some courses that you might want to recommend to people that are watching, and they look at your work and say, wow, if this guy has done this in 6 months, then I want to do the same course.
Well, so up until a couple of months ago, it was purely the everything you can find on YouTube. Um, so yeah, that's
Anything that you remember in particular?
well, the first thing I started getting comfortable with when it came to rendering was nature scenes, and that was a very nice mix of Josh Pierce. I'm very thankful for what Josh taught me in his just free YouTube tutorials. I think it's still think it's crazy that people share their knowledge for free in this community. I think it's amazing, but sometimes I think, geez, I think you could have been like a gazillionaire if you asked money for it. But anyway, so Josh Pierce, David Ariev has some really nice nature scene stuff as well. But and I'm sorry I have to mention it again, but that School of Motion Lights Camera Render course, that was like a complete game changer for me. That it made me do things I never thought I would be able to do. So if there was one course I would recommend, it's that one.
It's a little bit pricey for some people. I personally think that, if you get so much back, then it's worth the investment if this is something that you really care about. So I've done courses myself. I worked in the past even with mentors, and they were charging me a lot more money than a course like this, simply because a course like this did not exist. Uh, it's an investment that you do. You grow, you improve, you push yourself forward, and that's it. There are no questions coming from home. I guess that people are happy with our 1 hour rambling.
Bored with us.
Casper, Jay, Jay has the same last name as you. Is
That's
he your
weird.
kid?
No, it's my wife.
Oh, okay, it's your wife. Okay, AJ. Oh, that's why you're so excited about him. Okay, I get it. I get it. Adam, really, Adam say, stop it. I really don't want to spend any more money this year. All right, dude, listen, I think we are at the end of this interview. Thanks a lot for spending a little bit of time with me.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot for bringing your own perspective to the discussion of art and digital design. It's so to me it's always a enriching experience because we are so many in this community. We all see things from a different point of view, and I think that the key sometimes in trying to understand how the world works is to also be interested in others people's perspectives.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks a
Thanks
lot
for having me.
for
It was
giving me the time.
and a pleasure. Thank you.
Let me say goodbye to everybody at home. Thanks for the knowledge, Casper says. Dude, don't go anywhere so that I can say goodbye to you. I'm gonna stop the streaming. Thanks a lot, everybody, for watching. Don't forget to
Bye,
leave a
guys.
like. If this is your first time, maybe subscribe. I'm a cool guy, and it doesn't cost anything. Droki, thanks a lot for being here.
Thanks
Adam,
for having
same.
me.
Angelo, everybody, big kiss. Gigantic digital